Today, I want to tell you about what I believe has the potential to be the most powerful move of God in the history of the church. And get this, you can be part of it from the very beginning. Now, you might have questions about church, like, what's supposed to happen in a church? What's the point of church? Do I need a church? Why would I go to church? Why does church have an app? Is Kyle actually a robot? What's going on? Yes, those answers. Headline, they're rooted deeply in the Bible, and incredibly, they point to maybe the greatest potential for the spread of the gospel in the history of the church. Yes, that's what I said. And today's about where we're going. It's about the new kind of church that we're building to reach new people in new places better than ever before. And it's also about confronting the brutal facts that what has worked isn't working the same way for everyone anymore. So where are we going? Check this out. Crossroads Online is a whole new kind of church. Our job is to... Oh, wait, stop. Actually, before we say where we're going, we need to explain why and who it's for. See, every week you hear me say two things, right? First, I say, you should try giving. I talk to you about crossroads.net/tithe test, and I say something like, hey, if you've never tried giving, we've made a way for you to do that. It takes some of the awkwardness out of it, called our tithe test. It works like this. You go to crossroads.net/tithe test, you sign up, you try tithing for 90 days, and if you don't feel God move in your life, we'll give you all of your money back. By the way, we'll count that for this week. And seriously, if you want to take a step in faith and give, on behalf of all the people who you're helping, thank you. We really, really appreciate it. Now, you also hear me say the second thing. And we exist to guide and equip you to live the adventurous life that God made you for. Okay, but what is that adventure? Well, it's not settling for normal. It's not minding your own business. It's not working hard for 40 years so you can slowly turn into a raisin on the beach. And it sure is crap, not just watching church week after week after week. Now, watching every week is important, and I hope it's actually helpful. But this is not the adventure, it's just the equipping for the adventure. The adventure is fighting against apathy and hunger, against pain and depression, hopelessness, and everything that wants to blind eyes and shut ears to the life-saving message of Jesus. And the adventure is fighting for love, for hope, for redemption, for everyone who feels overlooked, overwhelmed, or just underwater, struggling to stay above the waves. That's the adventure that God made you for. And that's the church. See, as the church, we are God's plan A for deploying his redemption and his love to a dying, hurting world who desperately needs it. And here's the thing. There is no plan B. None. Ephesians 1 talks about the church, and it describes it as the fullness of him who fills all in all. What does that mean? Well, the church is the fullness of God, means that the church is the answer for emptiness. But here's the brutal facts. The old methods, they aren't working anymore. The water spigot meant to fill up empty people, it's just pouring onto the ground. Why? It's because the world has changed dramatically. The Industrial Revolution, way back in the day, it moved people from the country to the city. But the technological revolution, I think, has moved us way farther. It's moved us from living in person to living online. It's a place that didn't even exist 25 years ago. And here's the thing. If the church, which is God's plan A for redemption, remember, doesn't adopt new methods, we will fail at our mission. See, I believe God's calling us to create a new kind of church to reach a new kind of world. That's what we're building. Everything you see from Crossroads Online is driven by a vision to create a world-changing movement that you can belong to no matter where you live. It's why this is filmed here instead of here, and why I'm talking to you instead of them. Because showing a person on a stage in a building someone can't get to in a version of church that they don't want, speaking to an audience who isn't them, maybe isn't the best way to reach them. And that might sound overly dramatic or maybe even against the teachings of Jesus, but hang with me for a minute and I want to break it down. First, let's get crystal clear about the mission of Jesus. Here's his mission in his words, Luke 19:10. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. Jesus was so focused on this that one time he even said he deprioritized the 99 found sheep by leaving them to go after the one lost sheep. Seek and save the lost. That's his mission. So what's our job? It's the same. Priority number one for the church is go, seek and save the lost. And if you've ever read the Gospels, you've heard Jesus say, go, 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 again and again and again. In fact, the last thing he ever said was what's known as the Great Commission in Matthew 28. He said, go, make disciples of all nations. Well, how? How do you go? Well, it's fairly simple. Step one, you go to where the lost people are. 2, you learn their language. 3, you translate Jesus into that language. This is how Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament of the Bible, and I believe was one of the most effective evangelists ever, described it. This is 1 Corinthians 9, 20 to 22. Paul said, to the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means, I might save some. Now, if you apply that to today, you get to a 21st century American, be a 21st century American to win 21st century Americans. And here's the thing. The average 21st century American lives the majority of our life online. It's where we go to find the answers to everything we're looking for, right? But if you wanted to know how to plumb a sink, you'd look online. If you wanted to find a date for tonight, you would look online. If you wanted to find a solution to the emptiness that you feel inside, guess what? You look online. Now, you'd be like, hold on, Kyle, you are sounding really, really progressive right now. It's making me uncomfortable. I mean, the foundations of the faith are these ancient, unchangeable truths. Are you trying to change those? No, not at all. Jeremiah 6:16 says this. This is what the Lord says. Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is and walk on it, and you will find rest for your souls. The ancient paths shouldn't be touched. They're the paths of forgiveness, of community, of service, of love that never fails. They're where I've actually found life, where I've personally found hope, and these paths are unchangeable. But God also says this, Isaiah 43, 18 to 19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness, in streams in the wasteland. Now, the history of the spread of the gospel is that new trails must be blazed in order to tell new people about the ancient paths of God that lead to life. In the unfortunate history of the old church, it's actually the harshest critic of the new one, every time. You can rewind the clock 2,000 years. When Paul adopted new methods and took new roads to reach the Greco-Roman world, his harshest critic was Peter, one of the disciples of Jesus, and the existing established church back in Jerusalem. And it's been that way ever since. There's a story I love about a missionary named Hudson Taylor back in the 1800s, one of the first missionaries ever. This guy went into China before anybody was allowed in there. And get this, 125,000 people were saved because of his work. How did he do it? By becoming to the Chinese a Chinese man. For him, that meant he had to grow out his ponytail, which back at that time, men did not do. He was from England. And see, when he went home to England, rather than be celebrated, he was mocked. He was ridiculed. He was told, you can't do that. You can't grow your hair out. That's not how men look. Please hear me for a minute. This isn't about me, but this is deeply personal to me. And now is maybe the right time to explain why I'm here, why I'm in this role leading online church, pursuing this goal of building a new kind of church that reaches new people who otherwise wouldn't be reached. It's because 16 years ago, I had a different plan for my life. The basic headline of that plan was, go make a lot of money. And then God said something to me very clearly. He said, go evangelize my new church. Now, I honestly had no idea what that meant, but I knew about this place called Crossroads. I knew about a church that was doing things in a new, completely different way than I'd ever seen before, and so I went after it. And I came on staff at this church 16 years ago. And now I find myself in a place going, the new kind of church in the new church is this new thing called online. When I got to Crossroads, I'd never seen anything like it before. I spent 5 years in the Bible Belt, surrounded by great churches, but none of them spoke my language. I actually told this to Brian, our senior pastor, just today. I said, the first time I ever saw Crossroads, 2 things stood out to me. 1, Crossroads spoke my language. 2, Crossroads was willing to do whatever it took to capture my imagination and tell me about Jesus. It's incredible. It's the first time I'd ever seen a church focused on relationships instead of empty religious rules. The first time I'd ever seen a church who was taking responsibility to solve the world's largest issues instead of just being an insular Sunday morning only holy huddle. And see, now I believe that call that God gave me to evangelize the new kind of church is to evangelize a church online. By the way, evangelize means share the good news about. And I want to be explicit. The new thing that God is doing is good news. If you've read headlines about churches, you might have seen things about declining attendance and how even prior to the pandemic, churchgoers were only going 1.7 times per month to church, and it's even less now. And you might be like, oh no, what's happening? Is the church dying? What's happening? No, God's doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? See, I believe that the technological revolution that's driving so much change in our lives represents the greatest opportunity in the history of the church to not only reach the world with the message of Jesus, but to connect all of us together into a world-changing force more powerful and more united than any previous version of the church. How? By following Jesus and being radically more personal than any previous version of the church. Jesus was radically personal. I don't know if you knew this, but he actually has 198 different names in the Bible. But get this, when he walked up to somebody, he chose a very particular, very personal name for each of them. One time he went to a well, and there was a woman there who was looking for a drink. And he said to her, I am living water. Another time, he was talking to a crowd, and they were actually following him across the mountains, like chasing him. They were hungry. They were looking for food. And to them, he turned around and he said, you know who I am? I'm the bread of life. Another time, there was a lonely guy sitting in a tree. He had no friends. Nobody liked him. He was just taking all their money, exploiting him, and so they just had made him into an outcast. No friends. Jesus walks up, and he says, Zacchaeus, tonight, I'm coming to your house for dinner and a great hang. To the man with no friends, he became a friend. Another time, there's a blind man. He lived his whole life in darkness. And when Jesus walked up to him, he said, I'm the light to see. This is the story of their encounter in Luke 18. Jesus asked him, saying, what do you want me to do for you? He said, Lord, I may receive my sight. Then Jesus said to him, receive your sight. Your faith has made you well. And immediately he received his sight and followed him, glorifying God. And all the people, when they saw it, gave praise to God. This is one of the most radical features of Jesus and the one that most Christians miss. Jesus walks up to you right now, in your moment, in your life, and he asks you the same question. What do you want me to do for you? See, Jesus wants to meet your needs. Personally, he wants to meet your moment, whatever it is, right now. You never see Jesus offer bread to a blind man. You never see him give sight to somebody who's actually just looking for water. In light of that, the harshest law thrown at online church is by Christians is that technology is just not personal. But here's the thing, case I'd make. Technology actually gives us the ability to be more personal and to approach each individual person the way that Jesus did, to see their need and to meet it personally and uniquely. I recently got to hear from a guy named Frank Blake. He was the CEO of Home Depot. He's an amazing Christian man. He talked about his experience of building HomeDepot.com and how it transformed their entire business. He said prior to going online, their main form of talking to people was through Sunday newspaper inserts. It's like this little section that came in the middle, an advertisement, just like this. You can get a 2013 Nissan Murano, by the way, for $8,900 if you're interested. But the problem with this is that you actually have to say the same thing to everyone. And so for Home Depot, they might advertise on a given Sunday, faucets on sale.
Wow.
And to every single person from Minneapolis to New York City to Miami, they'd say the same thing. Do you want a faucet? They're on sale this week. The entire time, by the way, they knew, of course, that not everybody needed a faucet. Some people actually needed help with a chainsaw. Other people needed help with electric. But the problem is you can't ask each person in America what they need help with that week and design a custom flyer just for them. But he had this epiphany. You could do that online. And that insight completely changed his view of technology. He built an online presence designed at helping each person find the most helpful solution to the problem they were trying to solve in their moment. He wanted to meet their moment just like Jesus meets ours. The same is true of us. So we know that the Sunday message, just like this, it might not meet the need of your moment or your friend's moment who lives in another state. And that's why we don't stop with a Sunday program. We write articles, we're creating podcasts, and we're designing our homepage around meeting the need of your moment, of your friend's moment, no matter where they live, no matter what that moment is. We've just recently launched a brand new homepage for online church. You can check it out right now if you want. Just go to online.crossroads.net. When you do that, front and center, you will see the same words of Jesus that we just read. What do you want me to do for you? Now, those words may change someday to something a little bit tighter and more punchy, like, how can we help? But as a team, as we're launching this new thing, we decided that it was important to launch it this way. We wanted to be very clear and very visible from the very beginning to all of us that what we're trying to do is serve and love each individual person personally, to walk up and say, what do you want me to do for you? Crossroads Online is a whole new kind of church. Our job is to equip you to live the adventurous life that God made you for. When you sign up for a profile, you get unlimited access to shows, teaching series, and other forms of content just for you. Alongside that, we have volunteer opportunities, go trips, and programs to help you change the world. And listen, changing the world is hard, and you can't do it alone. We have ways to plug you in with spiritual coaches, as well as community and people that are near you. We're doing this because we believe God has more for your life. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you experience more of God here at Crossroads Online. Now, we know that not everyone at Crossroads will feel called to this work, and that's okay. Just like not everyone is called to go be a missionary in Papua New Guinea, but some are. And those of us who are missionaries, called to go to new places, we need one thing from those of you who are called to stay. We need your support. We need you to cheerlead us and not complain that we're not making things the way that you want for you. We're trying to reach new people in new places in new ways. But others of us, we are called to go. We are called to step out of the comfortable church that we've enjoyed and plant its next version. If you're feeling that nudge, I want to know. In fact, you can just email me, kyle.ranson@crossroads.net. Just say, I want in, and we'll go from there. We are building an army of volunteers to reach, train, equip, and unite an even larger army of connected believers to go change the status quo of our nation from lost to found, from hopelessness to hopeful, from faithless to faithful. If you want to be part of the volunteer team, we have work for you, some of which, by the way, you can do from home. When you do that, you'll be joining a team that is seeing momentum and wins and is just desperately trying to keep up. We've seen incredible wins over the last year. We've seen more than 1 million new followers on social media. We've seen double our YouTube subscribers. We've seen a 39% increase in giving, the fastest at Crossroads. It's amazing, but here's the thing, it's all for naught if there is no community to connect with, if there are no guides to give advice, if there's no team to link arms with. The world is rapidly changing. Every day, the number of people who cross over and live life online grows. We don't have any time to waste. And what happens if the world moves to a virtual neighborhood devoid of the church? Because the church was just not really comfortable with the new neighborhood. I'll tell you what happened. It'd be a tragedy, an entire lost generation. Someday, past the end of our lives, Jesus will stand face to face with us, with you, with me. He's going to ask us each a very simple question. Did you go? And in that moment, which will come, I know it'll come, I don't want to say, no, you see, Jesus, I know that everybody moved online and all the lone sheep, all the ones, they went there. But see, that new neighborhood, it was just kind of strange. It was just kind of uncomfortable. And there were just too many unknowns there. And so I stayed while the world packed up and moved on from this place. But look, I preserved this old steeple for you. Do you like it? No. I want to say to Jesus, when you said go, I went. It was uncomfortable. It was difficult. And Jesus, I'll be honest, there were times I had no idea what to do, but I went. I believe we're standing at the precipice of one of the greatest movements of God in human history, a time when Jesus is calling his church to follow him and go to new places and learn new languages to reach new people. And if we have the courage, the audacity even to go, to follow, we'll see a generation, one, not lost. People who never thought they could belong, belonging. People who never thought they could be healed, healed. And I believe we can see a revival that they will write about in the history books in the chapter called When the Church Had the Courage to Go Online. And if you've been watching and thinking maybe for the first time, like, I don't know about all this church stuff, all this Jesus stuff. I don't understand this. I have a message for you. Listen, thanks for being with us. I want you to know real life starts. The adventurous life starts with Jesus. And no matter who you are, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what video you were watching before this one came on your computer, you can start experiencing that life today. All you have to do is ask for it. If that's where you are, or if you're somebody who's going like, yes, Jesus, you're calling me and I want to respond. I want to invite you to pray with me right now. You can just say this. Jesus, thank you for the life you offer. We just say to you, we want it. No matter where we're starting from, no matter what life was like yesterday or this morning, we want the life you have for us. Give it to us in full. Call us on the adventure and we will go. Would you reach the lost people? Would you find the ones? The sheep are out there, God. Would you lead us to them? When you say go, we say, here I am, send me. Amen. And what God wants to do is to break through. He wants to break through in your life. He wants to break through in our world, break through the clutter and the chaos and all the crazy news feeds and all that stuff. He wants to break through. He is the God of the breakthrough. I want to encourage you right now to sing the song with us that tells that to God, the God of the breakthrough. Sing this with me right now.
We know where else to turn. We're kneeling at your door, singing, come here, we need your kingdom now. Exchange it for our doubt. We're kneeling at your door, singing, come near, come near, come near, come near, come near. God of the breakthrough, your promises stand true. You haven't failed us yet. You haven't failed us yet. Miracle maker, our hope and our Savior. You haven't failed us yet. You haven't failed us yet. You've shown us who you are. We've etched it on our hearts, so we're crying out for more, singing, come near, so pour your spirit down, as our praises rising now, we're crying out for more, singing, come near, so pour your spirit down, as our praises rising now, we're crying out for more, singing, come near, come near, come near, come near, come near, God of the breakthrough. Your promises stand true. to turn. We're kneeling at your door, singing, come near, come here.
We're so excited you spent some of your time with us today. You know, everything we make here is meant to equip, encourage, and challenge you and get you to a new place with God. And the biggest thing we have coming up for you is the journey. This year it starts on September 25th, and it's called Heroes, Your Path to Greatness. There are 3 things you need for that journey. 1 is this book, completely free. 2 is the Crossroads app, again, completely free, available wherever you get apps. And 3 is a group. Also, still free. Now you can get into all 3 of those by going to crossroads.net/online journey. And I would encourage you, by the way, if you're even thinking about it, to consider hosting a group. It's key to the entire experience, and we need enough people to make sure that everybody who wants to participate can participate. Thanks for being with us today.
Why am I wearing this cape? Because I want to make your life great. This year's journey is called Heroes, because God has made us all to be heroes. To show us how, I've assembled this all-time great team of heroes. The journey's 5 weeks long, starting September 26th. It's got 3 parts: the weekend, guide, and the groups. Step 1, experience the weekend online or at a site. Get inspired, get challenged, and get the good news. Step 2, do your individual guide. You'll get a sweet printed guide with prompts and all kinds of stuff to help you learn more about yourself and to hear from God in a whole new way. 3, groups. During the journey, we get together in groups to talk about what we're learning. They're super powerful, and if you don't have one, that's okay. We'll help you find one. This journey could be the best thing you do all year for your spiritual growth. Where's the sweat spot? Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm a little sweaty.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to keep watching right now, we made this playlist right here just for you.